Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are unpacking an ancient, but honestly, incredibly relevant framework for mastering our overwhelmed modern minds. If you've ever felt like your brain is running on fumes or, on the flip side, just stuck in absolute overdrive, This Explainer is definitely for you. We're going to break down the concept of the three gunas from the Bhagavad Gita and see exactly how they offer this profound guide to living peacefully and actually excelling in a world full of constant doubts and struggles. So, why are we either completely burnt out or entirely unmotivated? It's a wildly relatable extreme that we just constantly bounce between today, isn't it? Like, one minute we're hyper-focused, stressed out, running a million miles an hour, and then the next, we literally can't even get off the couch. We can really think of this as the hustle versus the crash. On one side, we've got the endless rat race. The pressure to constantly upgrade, achieve, and hustle, which ultimately just breeds deep anxiety. And then on the other side, there's the inevitable crash, doom scrolling on the couch, feeling totally unmotivated. This right here is the exact core problem we're going to solve today by looking at what's actually happening under the hood of our minds. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We'll start with the modern mind struggle, meet the three gunas, focus in on Sattva as our steering wheel, uncover some ancient imagery from the Upanishads, connect all of this to the signs of consciousness, and finally, look at the art of peaceful living. Let's dive right into part one, the modern mind's struggle. So physically, human beings are largely the exact same. We've got the same organs, the same basic physical makeup. But our daily struggles, our likes, our dislikes, and our inner dispositions, they're totally different. Why is that? Well, chapter 14 of the Bhagavad Gita says it basically comes down to invisible forces shaping our nature, known as the three gunas. Sattva is the mode of goodness, peace, and focus. Rajas is the mode of passion, energy, and sometimes greed. And Tamas is the mode of ignorance, laziness, and confusion. These three forces are just constantly active within us, essentially fighting for dominance. Moving on to section 2. Meet the three gunas. To really grasp how these modes operate inside of us, let's use a super modern analogy. Think of your mind and body as a car. In this analogy, ragas is your accelerator. It gives you the energy to move forward, to work, to chase those goals. Tamas, on the other hand, is the brake. It slows you down, helps you rest, and lets you recover. And look, both are absolutely necessary. But what about sattva? Well, sattva is the steering wheel. It's what actually provides the direction, the wisdom, and the clarity to know where you're even going. The really inescapable conclusion here is that a car with an accelerator and brakes but no steering wheel is inevitably going to crash. If you only have rajas pushing you, you crash straight into burnout and anxiety. If you only rely on tamas, you crash into laziness and stagnation. Without sattva acting as that steering wheel, guiding our passions and our need for rest, there's just no way we can navigate life safely or peacefully. Which brings us to section 3, Sattva, the steering wheel. Understanding how to strengthen this specific guna is pretty much the ultimate key to mastering our minds. The Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 14, verse 6, describes Sattva beautifully. It says, Sattva, being immaculate, is illuminating and flawless. It binds through attachment to happiness and knowledge. Sattva literally brings light to the mind. It clears out that mental fog. It acts as our inner guide that helps us discern right from wrong. Crucially, sattva is the quality of goodness, purity, and calmness. When sattva is strong, it literally lights up all the gateways of our body, our eyes, our ears, our speech, with immense positivity and focus. It's that inner voice telling us exactly when we need to press the Raja's accelerator and when we need to slam on the Tamas brake. Let's jump to section 4, ancient colors and imagery. You might be wondering, how did ancient thinkers even visualize these invisible forces? Well, the Chandogya and Svetasvatara Upanishads mapped these gunas directly to fundamental elements of nature. Red, or fire, represents rajas, that burning passion and high energy. Dark, or earth, represents tamas, heaviness and inertia. And white, or water, represents sattva, purity, clarity, and life-giving calmness. There's also this incredibly famous story of the three robbers that perfectly illustrates this entire concept. Imagine you're walking through a forest, which represents the world. Suddenly, you're attacked by three robbers, representing the three gunas. Tamas wants to completely destroy you or just keep you in the dark. Rajas wants to bind you to the world with endless, unending desires. But Sattva, the third robber, actually unties you. Sattva rescues you from anger, passion, and laziness and leads you right to the edge of the forest,
towards liberation. Now, interestingly, the ancient texts note that eventually, to reach ultimate spiritual freedom, you do have to transcend even Sattva. But for our everyday modern lives, Sattva is absolutely the hero we need.
Now for Section 5, the science of consciousness. Let's bridge this ancient wisdom with modern physics for a second. Consider the Potomac model of the microbody. This brilliantly illustrates consciousness interacting with the physical brain through three subtle elements: mind, intellect, and ego. Notice how they're split into these gross and subtle layers? This model attempts to show the actual mechanics of how that pure Sattva awareness interfaces directly with our physical neurology.
We can even compare this to modern behavioral science. The Vedic concept of the mind, constantly being pulled by Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, directly mirrors modern cognitive psychology's dual processing theories. Think of Daniel Kahneman's famous thinking fast and slow. That reactive, impulsive fast brain is very much like Rajas and Tamas, while the deliberate, conscious, clear-thinking slow brain operates a whole lot like Sattva. The ancients basically just had a different, maybe even more holistic, vocabulary for the exact same thing.
Which brings us to our final section, the art of peaceful living. So, the crucial point is, how do we actually apply this fairly dense philosophy to our daily lives so we can excel and find some true clarity? Well, the source texts give us highly practical steps to slowly make sattva stronger than the other two gunas. First, be super mindful of what you consume. Eat pure, homemade food rather than junk. Second, start your day with physical and mental alignment, like practicing morning yoga or Surya Namaskar. And third, feed your intellect by reading uplifting texts, like the Bhagavad Gita. These aren't just good habits, they are literally sattva-building exercises. And here is exactly why this matters. Over time, practicing these habits ensures sattva becomes your dominant operating system. When sattva is strongest, it doesn't just kill off rajas and tamas. Instead, the three gunas actually work together harmoniously. Sattva effortlessly steers our passions and our need for rest. We feel calm, we feel happy, and we can execute our daily duties flawlessly, without all that crushing anxiety or paralyzing laziness. We finally get a firm grip on the steering wheel. Which leaves us with this final provocative thought for you to really reflect on. Take a hard look at your actions, your stress levels, and your motivations right now. Ask yourself, who is driving your car today? Is it the restless accelerator of rajas, the heavy brake of tamas, or the clear guiding steering wheel of sattva? The choice and the steering wheel is entirely in your hands. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning and keep steering.